This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Okay, I want to play you some of the excerpts of this interview that idiot boy Navarro gave last night to Ari Melber, because he's so convinced that what he did wasn't a coup attempt, but it was. There's no question it was. It had a name. And if you look at the homework from this Monday, right, go to randirhodes.com, click on the homework section, and go into Monday's homework, and you will see something that is slugged. It's called the Green Bay Sweep. This is the article that I read on December 28th that was posted and published by the Daily Beast, okay? And it was an interview with Peter Navarro, who wrote a book about his attempted coup. He literally wrote a book. He's trying to save his skin because he thinks that America is only concerned with the violent January 6th insurrectionists. And as concerned as you ought to be with the violent January 6th insurrectionists who literally caused the death of 5 people that day and were willing to kill more, you need to know that there was a bloodless coup that was also being efforted by the White House in an effort to overturn the results of the 2020 election that they lost. And according to Peter Navarro last night, not only does he tell you it was called the Green Bay Sweep, not only does he tell you that Bannon and him were working on this and that they were, making this happen and they were but that the thing that screwed them all up, the thing that screwed up Peter Navarro's brilliant plan was the violence. It was the violence. He's trying to distance himself from the violence by admitting that he was trying to overturn the results of a free and fair election. Listen to this.
The backstory is, while I was in the administration after the election, beginning on Thanksgiving, I produced what would be an exhaustive 3-volume report. I went over tens of thousands of pages of documents and proved that the election was in all likelihood stolen through fraud and election irregularities. That's the background. On January 6th, the Green Bay Sweep plan.
That's false, but the question for the start of the interview. Yes, it is fine. But the question for the start of the interview is, I just want to make sure here that we're kind of going by rules of the road. The question is, and you'll get time to talk.
You got to say that. And what I'm saying is that
I don't have to say anything, sir. I'm asking you. The question is, sure. What was the plan itself and who was in on it?
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you that. The plan was simply this. We had over 100 congressmen and senators on Capitol Hill ready to implement the sweep. The sweep was simply that. We were going to challenge the results of the election in the 6 battleground states. They were Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin, Nevada. And basically, these were the places where we believed that if the votes were sent back to those battleground states and looked at again, that there would be enough concern amongst the legislatures that most or all of those states would decertify the election. That would throw the election to the House of Representatives. And I would say to you here, Ari, that all of this, again, it was in the lanes legally. It was prescribed by the Constitution. There is a provision to go, rather than through the Electoral College, to the House of Representatives. And all this required was peace and calm on Capitol Hill. And at 1 p.m., Senator Ted Cruz and Gosart, a representative, started the Green Bay Sweep beautifully, challenging the results of Arizona.
What he just told you is a coup plot. What he just told you, first of all, it's false, okay? It's false. Because on the morning of January 6th, Mike Pence had already said, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to send anything back to any state. I don't have the authority. I can't not certify. This is a ceremonial thing. I have talked to lawyers. I have talked to, justices. I have talked to Judge Michael Ludig. I have talked to Dan Quayle, the former vice president, and I don't have any authority to execute your Green Bay sweep. I can't do it. So Peter Navarro on the morning of January 6th knew that. Everyone knew that. Ted Cruz knew that. Josh Hawley knew that. Ron Johnson knew that. The 147 members of the House knew that. And even after the violence, the 147 members of the House voted not to certify the results of the election and to stick with the Green Bay sweep, non-bloody coup plan. And Ari actually points out to Peter Navarro, do you realize, you idiot, that you just sat on my show and you described a coup? Do you know that that's what you just did on national television?
You just described you just described this plan as a way to take an election where the outcome was established by independent secretaries of state, by the voters of those states, and legal remedies have been exhausted with the Supreme Court never even taking, let alone siding with, any of the claims that you just referred to. So legally, they went nowhere. And then you're describing a way that the incumbent... Hold on. You will get your turn. I just let you go for a while. Let's go this back and forth, sir. Then you will use the incumbent losing party's power, that was the Republican Party that was losing power, to overtake and reverse that outcome. Do you realize you are describing a coup?
No, I totally reject many of your premises there. First of all, the election was still in doubt and would be until it was certified. Second, the idea that secretaries of state, particularly in Michigan and Pennsylvania, were like innocent parties. I mean, Jocelyn Benson and Kathy Bookfar, the secretaries of state in Michigan and Pennsylvania, they were put in power by George Soros.
Oh, my gosh.
For the express purpose of shifting the playing field.
He's describing a coup, and now he's blaming the Jews for the coup. You understand this? This is bizarro world. This is like mass cult-like behavior. This is incredible. He sat there. He described his entire plan, which, by the way, when we listen to Steve Bannon talk about it, and he's saying, play the play, make the play, take the football, run down the field, go make the play. This is exactly what they were talking about. Now it's all becoming crystal clear that what they had planned for the United States of America was a bloodless coup that would be affected by Ted Cruz and Mike Pence and 147 House members and Josh Hawley in the Senate and Ron Johnson in the Senate and some other lunatic, fringy, right-leaning people, okay, who saw Donald Trump as the most prolific fundraiser and the most galvanizing figure that they've ever had in the Republican wheelhouse, in the Republican roster since Ronald Reagan, and they weren't going to let him go. They were going to do whatever it took, including a coup, a bloodless coup. And the only thing that screwed them up was the violence. This is their story now. This is their story. But the true story is that Mike Pence had already said he wasn't doing it, that Donald Trump had already ordered a stand-down order for the National Guard, that there was a 3-hour delay between the time that the Capitol was attacked and the National Guard showing up, right? So we know that it isn't the violence that screwed them up. It was that violence was all they had left, which is what I keep telling you. It's what I've been saying when it became sort of crystallized that Donald Trump had gone to the state legislators, that Donald Trump had gone to the Republican governors, that Donald Trump had gone to the Republican secretaries of state on recorded phone calls, that Donald Trump was trying to persuade and did persuade 147 House members and a bunch of senators. And you only needed one. Remember, you need one senator so that they could start the debate on whether to throw out these votes, right? But you needed the vice president not to certify. And the vice president had already told them that he was going to certify. So all these things were in place, and Donald Trump pulled the trigger on the violence. He pulled the trigger because it was the last means at his, what he believed was his disposal. And so we saw the violence. And the violence is what put guys like Peter Navarro on our radar screen. The violence is what put guys like Sean Hannity on our radar screen. The violence put Laura Ingraham on our radar screen. The violence put Tucker Carlson on our radar screen. And all the propaganda that was being spoon-fed to certain people in this country who think that cable thing is a news network, that is anything more than propaganda, that OAN is anything more than a fraudulent effort to get you to watch them. This cannot be believed that, we were going to do a bloodless coup, therefore I'm not guilty of perpetrating any violence. You were part of a conspiracy to defraud the voters of this country from their rightful counting of their rightfully cast free and fair cast ballot. And it's so interesting they just weren't interested in getting rid of the Republicans that won that day.